allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now call the September 19th, 2019 Village Board to order. Roll call shows that Peter is excused. Everyone else is present. Are there any agenda changes under 3? Nothing. Number 4, consent agenda. September 5th, 2019 regular board meeting minutes. September 5th, 2019 Committee of the Whole meeting minutes. C, licenses and permits, operator's license. 1, Teresa Rapp. D, presentation of accounts and other claims against the village. Are there any questions or corrections?
I just had a couple of things on the committees that I reported on, and I may have misspoken, and if I apologize if I did. For Black Otter Lake District, it says shoreline planting grass. It would just be shoreline planting. And then for the Senior Activities Committee, the calendar that Nathan developed is going to be on the website and also to distribute wherever we have senior activities. So like I said, I may have spoken wrong, but I just noticed those 2 things.
Can we have a motion to approve with the corrections?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. 5, pre-registered citizens to be heard. None. 6, committee reports. A, Public Facilities Committee. And Peter's not here. So.
In the absence, yeah, he did not give anything for the Public Facility Committee. We are meeting again next week, correct?
25th.
On the 25th at 5:30 here, if I remember
Correct.
right. Is that right, Nathan? Okay. And we have just a few loose
Are you sure it's
ends.
the 25th? I think it's the 23rd, Tuesday.
I got it. I got 25th on my calendar for some
I
reason.
did it right when we were sitting there.
23rd is Monday.
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
I have 25th.
It is Wednesday, okay. Then it's right, Julie, 25th, okay.
I'm like, phew, okay. Yeah, 25th at 5:30.
Okay, yeah, Peter did email earlier this evening, he's just got a touch, he's got a bug, he can't do it, so he wanted to stay home, so it's
And, yeah, and there was a couple of things that we're still pending, and then there was a couple of things that we decided on, and I didn't prepare to do the presentation tonight if in his absence or anything. So I think at the next board meeting we can just present it all.
correct.
Okay.
Yep. Still working on the Opera House.
Yeah.
Planning and pricing.
Yep.
That was the big ticket, so.
B, Public Safety Committee.
Yeah. I typed it up so we got it. Anybody ever gets so they can't sleep, just wait till Nathan posts that meeting and enjoy all 3.5 hours of it. So we met on the 17th and we came up with a few conclusions. One is that there appears to be some question about the chain of accountability and or the reporting authority concerning issues with hiring and advancements within the police department after the dissolution of the Police and Fire Commission. The issues facing the police department are complex, not easily solved. There's training costs, full and part-time turnover rates, department morale, and complex scheduling issues that all need to be weighted appropriately, which each change that occurs within the department. And the police chief and the officers provided a very informative discussion. We all walked out with a much deeper understanding of the issues that we have at hand. So the recommendations that came out of that meeting, the first was that we need to establish, document, and distribute the policies and or procedures for hiring, advancement, and any other unassigned actions that should require a chain of accountability and or reporting authority, with unassigned actions being defined as responsibilities and authorities that were previously granted to the Police and Fire Commission that were not specifically reassigned when that commission was dissolved. Another recommendation was that for this particular advancement, the recommendation of the committee is that we establish a temporary 3-person review consisting of Chris, David, and myself to conduct interviews and decide which, if any, of the existing part-time officers should be advanced to the full-time position. Prior to the meeting, it was Chris's recommendation that we have the safety committee do the interviews. So she was already looking for something outside of just herself to do that. So this isn't an overstep at this point. Third, it was also a recommendation of the committee that if one of the part-time officers is advanced to a full-time position, that the vacant part-time position be left vacant for the remainder of 2019 year, at which time the position can be reviewed with all the 2020 budgetary and scheduling information available. And it's assumed that there will be documented and agreed upon policy for hiring at that time. We also touched on the SRO contract. That needs to be a little bit more closely examined to ensure that the total cost of the village is being accounted for in the terms of the contract. The safety committee may need to meet more frequently in order to fulfill these responsibilities.
Give me more copies of that.
Yeah, sure.
Do you need one, Jane?
Yes.
And Bob?
I printed out 10 of
Okay.
them. so.
I didn't
I just see you writing down a bunch of notes.
Was there anything
Yes,
else?
make it easier.
I didn't get one.
We got it,
Okay.
we got it, we're covered.
Okay,
Okay.
We're covered.
I think that covered it.
Any other questions?
It was a little bit more than the 2 points, but I broke them up, and I thought everybody would probably be okay with that. And I also touched on the SRO, which we didn't discuss was going to be a recommendation from the committee, but it was a consensus from the meeting.
In the future, yeah. Yep.
Number 7, oops, I'm sorry, were you
No,
done, Julie?
I just said, sounds good.
Okay. Number 7, unfinished business from previous meetings, and there's none. 8, new business. A, ordinance O-17-19 to create section 3.12, refund of certain overpayments.
And I will take this. Every year we would do a resolution for tax payments. If it's $5 or under, we would not issue a refund. It was suggested to put that into an ordinance going forward, so we don't have to do that every year. So I presented it to Bob, and he said it looked good, and that's where we're at.
Are you looking for a motion, or is this the first reading tonight?
I am looking for a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve O-17-19, an ordinance creating section 3.12 of the municipal code of the village of Hortonville relating to refund of certain overpayments to the village.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. B, temporary amendment of premises on the New Horton Inn LLC, combination Class B, fermented malt beverage and liquor license for October 13th, 2019.
And this is just an amendment on their liquor license for a one-day event for, not sure what they're doing. I don't remember. if it was a-
Humane Society.
Humane Society
Society.
fundraiser?
Yes, okay. So they want to incorporate the parking lot.
Yes. Have you looked at that? Are they gonna, block it off? Is there a parameter set?
Yes, that's the intention. Yes.
I would think so.
They essentially inquired about the Opera House to see if there was any other activities prior to setting the date, at which we said there's nothing happening there, nothing scheduled or rented, so they asked for parking permission. She's also secured it from the former Ford ownership there, so they can use that facility, and then if for outdoor consumption, they plan on doing a barricaded area to extend their premise.
That'd be my only concern, that it be a specific area.
Yes.
Do we need a motion?
Just a motion to approve it.
A motion?
Do you need separate motions, or can they both be approved at this?
I would do them separately as they're
Okay.
listed as B and C.
And then I will make a motion for the temporary amendment of premises on the New Horton Inn LLC, combination Class B fermented malt beverage and liquor license for October 13th, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. C,
And, oh, sorry, go ahead.
temporary amendment of premises on the Forks Combination Class B, fermented malt beverage and liquor license for September 21st, 2019, and October 26th, 2019.
And this is the same thing. They're having a beanbag tournament on the 21st and a Legion barbecue on the 26th of October.
first one being a wrestling team fundraiser.
I'll make a
Which they've done every.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this, did they block off the alley for that
Yes.
one? Okay.
Yes.
And the business owners back in there are?
They will be notified. Public Works did the notification last time.
Okay.
We had some issues last time, we made them, we let them know. We just put it out a little too early to the liking of some of the business owners. So this time we'll accommodate.
Okay.
I also let them borrow some picnic tables from the park, but I've done that for the last 10 years,
Yeah.
so.
All right, then I will make a motion to approve temporary amendment of premises on the Porks Combination Class B fermented malt beverage and liquor license for September 21st for beanbag tournament, October 26th for barbecue with the Legion, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. D, application for payment number 2 and number 3 in the amount of $433,791.67 for MCC Grandview Road contract.
I'll take this. It's actually one payment application, but it's two parts. So I called it 2 and 3, we could have called it 2, but anyways, the amount is, they're requesting is $433,791.67. Once we pay that, I believe the balance for the total project will be $36,280 to close it out. There hasn't been any issues up there. I think the project went well. It's coming in about where we thought it would be. And I want to make a recommendation to for the board to authorize payment of $433,791.67. I do have some preliminary assessment figures, but I don't know if now's the right time to talk about that. So,
The dot 73 on here is just a typo.
On the agenda.
oh, on the agenda?
Yeah.
I have 433,791.67.73.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, yeah, the 73, yeah. In the packet, it's correct.
And you're looking for a motion on this as well? I will make a motion to approve application for payment number 2 and number 3 for $433,791.67 for MCC Grandview Road contract.
Second.
Roll call.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. E is approval and awarding bid for Public Works, Black Otter Lake District Storage Shed.
Separate handout that's coming around as we speak. So that bid tab actually came due today at 2 p.m. Myself and Ryan St. John, Water Superintendent, did come into here. We turned on the camera. I believe, Nathan, is it posted already?
An hour ago.
Okay, so as of currently, you can go to YouTube and watch it. There was a sealed bid opening. What I handed around is the results of that sealed bid. Three contractors did send bids and we did receive them. The first millback from Kakana totaling $72,978. Badgerland Buildings out of Black Creek totaling $116,110. And then C&A Builders LLC out of New London totaling $50,357.38. What you are looking at is what I would deem a construction quote only. That would be for the concrete construction, installation, as well as building of the building. The figures that are approved for the materials are not included in here. That would be something extra. As I've advised the board earlier, the purchase price of the materials will be paid for by the contribution of the Black Otter Lake District. So with approval of this, the village's contribution would be $50,357.38. Plus additional pieces would be minimal plumbing that we need to run from exterior of the concrete slab to a retainage ditch. That can't be more than a couple $100 for that materials. And then the only other add-on that we would have associated with this would be for the garage doors. The initial bid came in at $6,100. So all told, the village's contribution to the storage shed would be approximately $57,000 if we approve the budget or approve this proposal from CA Builders LLC. Any other questions? When you do the total math on it, this project will come to approximately $94,000. And if you do the math on that, you're building what I'm going to call a very nice shed for under $30 a square foot. which is basically unheard of in this day and age. So,
David, I missed that part of the drainage tile or something you need
so
to-
essentially, Dan, what's happening is the contractor who put the bid in on this, we only had them quote what I would call it inside the frame. So inside the forms of the concrete. So they're responsible for the drainage, the actual floor drains, and then the material to get to the external side of the actual concrete slab.
Okay,
Where the village will then pick up the installation
Will go-
and the pitch and the drainage to, we're essentially gonna run it to an area adjacent to the Public Works building into, we're not connecting it, it's essentially stormwater. We're gonna divert it away from the building and put it around the current, we're gonna swale it away from the building, essentially. So it's open water. There's no physical connections to this.
okay.
So it made no sense for them, while we have the equipment, to take it from the slab and finish it. It would have been an additional
Okay.
cost, and that's essentially why we purchased the mini excavator, things like that. That's jobs that we can do rather than having the contractors do it. Chris Schultz has also prepared the site. I don't know if any of you have driven down there. The dirt has been pushed off. All the millings from Pine Street are in place, and it's a rough form. So essentially, with approval of this, it's, I would say, 75% ready to be project started. So I would be looking for a motion to approve the CA builder quote for the total of $50,357.38.
Now I'll make the motion to approve CA Builders LLC bid for $50,357.38 for construction of building and concrete work and drain work for our storage building.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. F, any other miscellaneous topics for future discussion?
Are we meeting, like,
No, go ahead.
okay. I guess I'm just kind of curious, like I asked last time, if we were gonna do any kind of meeting at all in the future for David's review or any other, are we doing that, or?
I didn't feel there was a need because he's not going up for any raises at this time
Okay,
or anything like that, so
okay.
unless someone feels that there is.
Are you looking to get a review?
I had one at the 6-month period.
Okay.
So, however, tomorrow will be my 1-year anniversary.
Okay.
And that's why I'm
service.
asking,
Yeah.
because I just knew we were at that
So
point.
and what I said at the last review, Julie, is I will open myself up for review at any point, at any time. If anybody wants it, I'm open to that. However, the way we wanted to structure was at the 6-month, 9-month, and 12-month review. So again, I'm at your beck and call, so if you feel it's necessary, we can do it.
So we did a 6-month, so did you do the 9-month then, or?
We are
The
just in that
9 months.
process.
Just in that
Yep,
process, right,
yep.
because it's September, and I understand,
Yep.
we were doing a calendar year
Yep.
versus anniversary, I
Yes.
get that. Okay, so, or is it something that we're gonna be doing then, and then it has 1 year, in December?
I think in the contract, I looked at his contract, and I don't know if I had the final copy, it said January. And I don't know if you have that, Bob, or,
No,
Okay.
didn't have that.
that's what, the
I
copy I
thought there
have.
was under contract.
I didn't think there, I didn't, I signed a,
Like an employment
Agreement.
agreement kind of
employee
thing?
agreement.
Yeah.
There was
Employment
nothing,
agreement.
essentially with the way Russ structured it, is I would abide by the village ordinances and what's expected of me in the personnel manual, as well as then the village ordinances.
Okay.
We
So-
did away
Yeah.
with,
Like a yearly
Contract.
contract,
Yep.
yeah.
It might have been
I thought
an
so.
agreement.
one-
it
So,
said.
I will update the village board.
Yeah.
What we just did, so I just sent an email this week telling the department heads, it's now time for our 9-month review. The 6-month was a thorough review of all employees. At that point, we did not have anybody that needed an action plan. The 9-month is a touch-up plan or a touch-up review. So I sent it off to Chris, Jane, Carl, and then Ally in the library. I included her, although we don't have any oversight of the library employees. I wanted her to keep up with what we do, the protocol. At that point, I said, if there's anybody that needs that 9-month touch-up review, bring it to my attention and we'll schedule it. Otherwise, at the beginning of the December month, we then will start reviewing what we did for the year 2019. We'll also by then should have our proposed and approved employee wage and benefit report moving into 2020. They will then sign for their employment for the next year and sign an agreement clarifying what their job is, what their benefits will be, what their pay is, and then that's something we file. That's also required for our auditors.
And just along with that, just so that I can, because I remember when I was first on the board that we would also do, and although essentially the department heads really report to you, we would also kind of do a yearly touch base with the department heads. Are we not doing that anymore come January? Or is that eliminated? I guess I'm just trying to understand. I'm trying to plan ahead.
Yep. So I did a review of each of the department heads as well, and then I did share it. I will do that for the years, and then I will update the village board and then put it in their personnel files.
So we should plan on some longer meetings or additional meetings maybe in January?
I don't think it's, I mean,
No?
I can give you handouts. I mean,
Okay.
I don't even know if we need it. I mean,
No.
it'd be for your own reading. And then I guess what I would tell you is if you have any issues or concerns, you would just contact me
Okay.
with oversight and,
Okay. So we should, okay, so I'm sorry. January. Okay, so then we'll plan on a meeting in January that we would have, or the board?
Basically, we decided to do this all in uniformity,
correct.
Which
where
I
Yeah.
he
completely
would be
agree.
treated just like Christine, like Carl, like the clerk treasurer, like that we were all gonna just, if there was something that you needed to bring up and bring forward, we would do it at that time rather than wait for a 6-month review, a 9-month review, a year
You're-
review,
Yeah.
because employees should be told at the time that something is not going right or is going right, they should be told at that time, rather than waiting,
This
so
is
that
helpful,
if it
Matt.
needs to be corrected, it can be corrected now, rather than waiting for a review.
And it's not even about content, it's just I'm trying to plan out and put longer periods of
Right.
time on those board meetings. And I, when I brought it up last time, I honestly thought that maybe we would have something, because we were at that 1 year. But my mistake, it's
No,
January.
no.
So I would likely just plan on, we will have a meeting sometime in January as a board to do which is just your typical
Mhm.
1-year review, okay?
Yep. And essentially, Julie, the premise I take with the department heads is exactly what Jeannie just said.
Yeah,
We do a monthly meeting with all department heads, but I do individual breakouts,
Okay.
and I operate the same way. If there's something that's immediately needs attention, we don't wait for a review.
okay.
We're always in constant conversation, and if something is critical, it's addressed immediately.
All right,
So,
I am just trying to plan
Yeah.
out my.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Just like Tuesday, I knew that would likely be a longer meeting. I didn't make any commitments later on in the evening. So, thank you.
not a problem.
So do we need to add something to the future agenda to deal with the recommendation from the committee here?
I think,
Or do we need to?
I think,
Yeah,
uh,
we're gonna take action.
Yes,
right,
we need,
and
that's what
if we
I'm
put it
saying.
on
We
the
need to,
agenda.
we need to
What
add-
my intent on that, Jim, was to take a pretty good look at what's there existing
Mhm.
and then make a recommendation and possibly look to revise prior to our ordinance codification. Because we have a recode that we are looking to approve going into 2020.
Okay,
So that's part of our budgeting process that we have it on the docket for October, Muni Code, what day is that, October 3rd probably?
I think it's is it the 3rd? Yes, the 3rd.
So we're gonna look for approval for a Muni Code contract going into 2020, which will recodify our ordinances that are extremely outdated. Not only will they clean it up and clean up language, but anything like that would be touched on before we submit it. The first 3 months of their process is basically going through the entire book and looking for issues just like that. They help us clean up as much as we help them write it. So it's gonna be the perfect time to address it. So I don't think it's gonna come up. We're gonna take care of our issue with myself, you, and Jeannie going into the hiring process for the new police officer for the
Okay.
full time. But I think before we have any more issues, we gotta have it cleaned up, essentially. It's not an overnight process. It's gonna
Okay.
take some time to write that language. So, but it's on the radar. Yeah.
But after we're done with other topics, I want to be heard. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna put on an agenda, or set up a meeting for the Public Works Committee. And tentative time right now is 5:15 PM, and it'll be October 3rd.
Who's on that committee again? Does anybody know? offhand?
Shauna, Pat, Jim, and myself.
All right. I'm up.
No, no
I
extra
was on
time
that
for you.
one at one point. I'm like, okay. I just want to make sure I'm keeping it all on track.
5:15, said Dan?
Yes.
And then we
Carl
also,
said he had about 4 things on it, so, to bring up, so.
and then we also talked about maybe tonight coming up with a public safety.
Yeah, I didn't have time to get to my schedule for the last 2 days, so we'll have to deal with that
Okay.
in an email or something to figure out the scheduling of
Okay.
equipment, what works for everybody's.
Like a
time.
standard meeting type situation?
What's that?
A standard meeting or just a follow-up?
Public safety.
Like,
We still have to deal with the judicial
Nice.
term, and I'm not sure.
Sirens?
sirens.
The
Actually, yeah, and that was another thing too, and I know it's more public safety, but I've noticed that the Appleton City Council did a
Mhm.
resolution
Mhm.
yesterday, or was it the day
As did
before?
Kokana?
With regards to the sirens, and perhaps that's something that is public safety, but I think we should, as a municipality, consider voicing our opinion on it as well. Yeah. All right, Bob, I think
saw
you have
that
the
in the
floor,
news this morning.
I think.
With Jamie's approval. I want to go back to E. I think we should have done the storage shed approval by roll.
Oh,
It's expenditure, so,
so can we back up and
yeah,
roll?
please.
Okay,
It was unanimous, but just.
all right.
Thanks.
Good catch.
Yeah.
The approval and award of the bid for the storage shed for the Public Works and Black Otter Lake District, we will now do roll call.
Aye.
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 Aye,
Aye.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't
No.
say something so.
motion carried. Are there any other topics that we need to discuss for the next agendas? If not, we'll move to 9, report of village officials, administrator.
Coming around? Hopefully I got enough copies to get around.
Feels like it.
Okay.
Close. Perfect.
Oh, ladies left to share, sorry.
We have to share over here too.
Yeah, I always like that. Economic development, as I've reported, ongoing here, looking at residential options for the village. I had the opportunity to meet with the Horizon Development Group, and they did provide a pro forma, an initial pro forma, I'll call it, for the village in regards to the 55+ senior community development. I'm also waiting on a second pro forma from a different group, from the Horizon Group. Both of these groups have been qualifying parcels in the village as we look at options moving forward. I came to you about a month ago talking about Mr. Clegg and his residential subdivision as an option, talking about bonding issues. We're also working on multifamily issues to keep all avenues of potential residential development available to the village. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's coming back very pricey. So in this regard, what I intend to do is put together, once I get this second pro forma, put together what I would call a general overview of what the options are moving forward for the village, because we have a plethora of people coming to the village, knowing that development is in our wheelhouse. But I'm gonna be real honest, price tags are coming in significant. So we're gonna, again, we'll revisit that when I get all the information. Carroll Land Surveying has been busy. Bob's been a tremendous help on this. But essentially what's happening now with the Parker purchase, or I'm sorry, purchase from the Parker family and then the initial sale to the Vans Real Estate Company. We did get the approval that we looked at the last meeting, so that's all signed, sealed, delivered. What's happening, we're in the process now. We met with Carroll this week. They are doing all the certifying and surveying on the lands. We're gonna get certified survey maps drawn. So they're working on not only the Michael Richter vacation on Brookwood Drive, they're also setting up the certified survey maps for the 5 parcels. It's gonna take time. They did make notion that we will have enough work for The Vans Group, Vans wants to take possession of 2 of the properties prior to November so they can start construction pre-winter. Their intent, Vans' intent is to take 2 parcels in November, 2 parcels in June, and have 2 more taken by the end of 2020. So they will have all 6 parcels completed and built out by the end of calendar year 2020. Another part of Carroll land surveying is Carl and I have been working on basically vacant lots to the village. Carl says the ones that we're talking about here are on the west end of Michael Ritker off of Spruce Street. There are 3 parcels that have been just kind of hanging out for the better part of 40 years. It's at this point that we approached by letter approximately 2 weeks ago to the adjacent landowners. They have all agreed to take these properties and get them on the tax roll. So again, part of the west corridor off of Spruce and Michael Richter, the land has to be vacated. So the land is being equally divided by 3 of the parcel owners. So essentially we're gonna redraw it, add that to their tax roll, and they'll assume property rights to those parcels. Anything more you wanna add?
No.
Fairly simple process. It's just gonna take, again, it's gonna take some certified maps and some drawing and a little bit of expenditure on the village's part.
Yeah, I guess I lost track of those. I was surprised we still had village land back there. If you take the extension of Michael Ritker where it stops at Spruce, if you went straight ahead, there's a road width there for the depth of those lots. But then to the north of that, there's 2 like
.22 and .16 acres of
but
lots.
they're backyards, and so if you look in there, the next 2 homes that are just north of the Michael Ritker intersection, I mean, I think they've been using them all these years.
Correct.
As back, there's
Using
swings
them,
back there. And
using them, maintaining them, but they would never have the right to do anything on them, so we're gonna add them to their parcel, get
Was
them on the
that
tax
and
roll.
it's kind of wooded back there.
Yeah, was Michael Bricker originally supposed to go more further to the west?
Yeah, before the industrial park went in, these are just remnant parcels.
Okay.
Because of the way, the original industrial park was drawn out in several fashions.
Yeah.
Several different variations. And no matter what they did back then in the 80s, they couldn't figure out what to do with these lots.
Okay.
So they just sat out there since the mid 80s. So it's best just to get them back on the tax roll.
And again, there's no facilities out there, none of our utilities are under those lots.
No, and no, serves us no purpose. We would never connect a subdivision to the industrial park anyway, so there's no hope for that.
So just clean, it is housekeeping, so to speak.
Cleaning up, yep,
And get them on the tax roll.
yep,
Yeah, why not?
essentially. So what we did then was that we also had them, all the costs associated for surveying is gonna be added on. So this will also be part of the Vans Parker negotiation. It'll eventually get billed to TID4 as part of that whole process. So, just to clean up, something that's been hanging out for a while.
Can I ask a question, David?
Yes, ma'am.
At one of the meetings when we were talking about housing in the community, looking at the need for all different types of
Yes.
housing, we talked about a subcommittee.
Yes,
At one point, are we going to do that?
I believe so. I wanna, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna prepare the 3 avenues that I'm acquiring currently, and then come back to you and say, this is what we have. And then at that point, I think it's gonna be the time that we sit down and prioritize what we do moving forward.
Because I think based on what the school district had to say, plus other things we've heard, I
Yep.
think it would be very timely to gather some
Absolutely.
people together. And
Yeah,
have
so
some
we've seen
input.
the upper echelon as a high, I'm not gonna call it a high end, a nice subdivision. We've also I just received information on what I'm gonna call a nice senior living community. And the one that's qualifying, that's currently coming in that we're waiting for is a market rate multifamily unit. It's not similar to the cottages, it's more 8 plexes, attached garages, blue collar living. So when that qualifies, then we'll have a kind of a 3 tiers that we can look at what the pricing is and what the village the inputs of the village would be required in order to get something built out for the village. So I think at that point, Pat, it would be a good idea to put people together and start getting more
I
information.
think New London is starting to.
They
looking at
are.
the same thing too.
I read the
so-
article today.
yeah.
They're looking at the same thing. They want to build houses out that are in the 150 range
Right,
today.
the
you know,
affordable housing.
Affordable
first,
housing.
Right.
Yep.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay. A little bit of community development today. It was pretty neat activity. So I took a call about a month ago, and we planned this, and it had to do with the middle school Lego team. And Jim was here today. The kids they're tasked with planning and planning for areas of what they would call like vital needs of the village. So what I did is I had an opportunity to discuss all levels of planning with them. So I started with the comprehensive planning, the biggest things that we do as a village, talked about East Central Regional Planning, all the things that go into what this job entails, all the way down to small things, park planning, builder's permits, and I think I probably answered 500 questions, Jim. Jim was here, his son. But what the group is doing is they're challenging these kids to look at renewability, green space, and how they could benefit the village. So they're kind of got a little problem they want to solve, and it was just good to reach out to the kids in the community. Took about an hour. It was a good time today. Little programming for the village. Speaking for Lisa, she handed out today to the department heads. We're all in the process of the Village Voices and proofreading, so you're going to be seeing that in your mail shortly. I believe she wants to send it out next week. Nothing on marketing and branding for me this time around. As you can see, there's been 5 outside meetings, and then I took part of a Handling Gnarly Public Issues webinar last week, so that was a entertaining bit. And that's it. And then I just wanted to say thank you for what I feel is seemed to be a very fast first year of my employment with the village, which is anniversary tomorrow. So thank you for the opportunity.
And then the Highway 15 update.
Yes,
That's
next week Tuesday.
next week, Tuesday.
Correct? 20.
5?
Yes.
That's the 24th,
24th,
and that's in the
yeah.
commons.
That's
So
in
you
the
know where
commons
park,
at high
That's
school.
in the
Yes.
commons
Yes.
at the high school.
5 to 7, I think.
Yep.
And that's open to the public.
That is, and it is it's an open house kind of thing.
5 till 7.
Yeah.
5:15 is going to be their presentation.
In the commons.
Like the cafeteria area.
Cafeteria, open
So it's not
space.
the
When
auditorium.
you come in from the
Right, when you
parking
parking
lot
lot, yeah. The-
Where?
The high school.
High school.
In the high school, okay, the high school, okay.
Yep.
Pulling the
Like the
parking
big
lot in the back,
round.
big round,
Okay.
The back and the front.
So it's hard because a lot
new
of things
part.
there are the auditorium.
Yep.
the new part.
And then there is the commons, and that is like what faces the middle school and elementary school.
Okay, what are we doing to get that out? The
It's out.
information
DOT has got it out. We had it on social media. It's on our webpage as well.
You shared my
Okay.
post, because
Yeah,
I had gotten the
It was
flyer.
actually in the paper today,
Yeah.
Okay.
so it was in the paper as well today. That was a front pager. So.
I mean, for something like that, because there's a lot of questions that come from residents, and not everybody looks at Hortonville. I don't look at Hortonville's Facebook page that much, so, do we do anything else to try to get that out? Do we drop off a sheet, that flyer that you have, or anything at like some of the local businesses?
Besides that, they sent out postcards to
They did
everybody. that
postcards.
lived in
Yeah.
the
Okay.
If you
They did
live
1,000
on
they did
that route, like
1,000
I live
mailers.
on
Yep.
15, I got a postcard in the mail. So
Okay.
anyone that is affected, because they live on that,
On Main.
on Main,
Yeah.
yeah, or considered a Main Street address is affected.
And they said
Okay.
they sent out like 1,000.
1,000
so-
mailers.
I got one.
No, I
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
A
I just wanna make sure
I
there's
took
something
a
else
picture
going
and I
on
shared
there
it, and the
that,
village
like,
shared my
What
try to
wasn't
get,
there, yeah.
so that way, if someone should come up to me and say, well, I didn't know, I can say, well,
That's all.
okay, they sent out mailers, and it's in here, and it's here, it's here, it's here.
Jane, do we have to
Everything's
list
full.
Yeah.
anything, because if
Ask to
all of
see
us
if
were
Lois
there,
has got
it would
my
be a
picture.
quorum?
Yes, exactly, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, potentially, if it's a potential quorum, yes.
Yes.
So we will post that.
so,
So we should post that tomorrow.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, I plan on going, I don't know what time, at some point, it's a, but yeah, I guess you're right, yeah. Cool.
Good catch, Jeannie.
Yeah, Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity for the first year.
he is clerk treasurer.
About 2 weeks ago, Nathan and I attended a presentation from Allegheny County on a credit card program, and he's going to talk about that. We actually had them come out and give us their spiel.
Basically, me and David have sat through probably 5 or 6 different presentations from different credit card companies, trying to figure out processing system for our constituents. All of them were not so good when it came to payment for our constituents or for us. So we kind of stopped looking. And then when we went to the Outagamie County thing, the group that's doing it is MSB, and they are contracted through the county, and we were able to hop on to that contract. So we're getting, their services are gonna be credit cards and, we'll be able to take credit cards online at the counter and e-checks, and the fees are for the e-checks will be 25 cents and the credit cards will be 2.2%, which is the lowest rate that we've seen. And they also offered to pay for our upgrade to our system for the cell, which is around a $2,000 cost. So they will be, we will be having we had our first meeting this week with the rep, and then next week he's gonna do a phone interview or phone discussion with us and some of the department heads about implementation. And we're hoping to get this up and running prior to December for tax season, because that's one of the reasons the county offered this to us, is they don't want to take credit cards. They want credit card processing to come through us here during the first 2 months or 3 months that we do taxes, so.
Essentially, all of the departments will be set up. That'll be Christina in court, police fire department, water, sewer. Nathan will have one. I believe you're set up with 5 terminals, correct?
We could do 5 terminals.
Okay, so
we might
essentially-
do less, but
They will all have their own drop down. They'll all be deposited into the appropriate account. It allows the way the program works, it integrates immediately, so it's gonna take away less, it'll make the paperwork flawless. The integration part is the tough part, so once they get it dialed in, it'll be seamless. It'll pull reports, you can pull them into Excel, correct?
they'll have their own, they have their own software.
Yeah,
It's called
so
Nexus.
it makes it user-friendly for the customer, but also for our employees in the village. A lot of times, and the big argument here has been, we don't take it currently, so we send people to Quick Trip more than you think to get cash. And it's just gonna be a nice user piece, and then they can also do it online. If they don't wanna come here, they can essentially pull up their account online and pay it online, so.
And the
It's
cost,
that recurring payments
Yep.
too for water bills.
Yep, so,
and the cost to the village is 0.
0 out of
That's
20.
wonderful.
Absolutely, yeah. So that was the biggest snafu with most of the service providers that Nathan took the lead on this, so give credit where credit's due. A lot of them had a lot of good features, but then they hit you on the backside, well, it's $1,500 and this is the annual fee, the service fee, the monthly fee. And it's like, well, time out. No, then it's not worth our time, because our system isn't broken, it's just not effective. So we waited till the good one came and this was the right time. So kudos to Gene and Nathan for taking this in. They sat through the initial review of it, and from what I see in the meeting we had yesterday, it's the right choice for the village.
Thank you, this is long overdue.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think so.
it's time.
Even just for bartenders, operators, people that come in and rent the Opera House, everybody's like, you have to take a
Licenses.
debit card or a credit card.
Dog and cat licenses,
Right.
water, sewer, everything. So court, Christina, this will help you tremendously in your court. Yep. Fees will be way down. Yep.
They charge 2.2 on a debit card too? Just 2.2
Yeah.
flat?
Yep.
Making money on that.
Who they are?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Sure.
But that's still less
That's how they
than,
make their
right
money.
now we do,
What's that?
That's how they make
The
their money.
lowest
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
prior to that was 2.75, was the lowest offered, that's a government, was paid, gov.pay.
2.2 is a good, 2.2 is a good rate, that's what I pay, in my business as an average, across all the credit cards, but debit cards debit cards don't cost near this much to run.
Even
But
the,
somebody's making a little grease somewhere off of that.
even the school district charges a fee if you do an online payment for school lunch fees. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do, it's a convenience fee.
Yeah, and for e-filing now for court system, .75 is the rate. So when you pay filing fees, you have to do it that way. You're automatically gonna pay the extra 2.75. It's just part of the system.
And do you have to buy any hardware to go along with this?
It's all given for
It's
free.
all given, okay, cool.
Set up
What about the
any-
maintenance of it?
Like
Everything.
Do they
standalone?
cover that cost?
Everything.
Okay.
Are they
The only fee
standalone?
that will be associated would be an increase
Good work.
in our annual fee through Civic for the software that we will be getting.
And they're pushing updates or anything like that? They're managing all of that?
All cloud-based, so
Awesome.
it doesn't interact with anything in our end, it's all in their cloud.
Good work.
So they're just standalone units that they're giving you?
It's similar to the units that you see at Quick Trip.
Card readers.
Yeah, there's like actual pictures of it in
Verifone
here.
card readers.
Okay, but they're not tied into your,
They're not tied into our server, no. They are tied to our Ethernet.
Ethernet.
yeah,
But
but they're not
not
tied
our
into your
server.
computer either, it's a standalone
Correct.
unit? Yeah,
Correct.
okay.
It's cloud-based.
So they have to take care of all the PCI compliance and everything
Yes,
on their end?
yes,
Okay.
that's the other thing I asked, because that's a pain.
Yeah, they just replace the machines, they don't do anything after that. So, okay. It's the same way I run mine, that's the most cost-effective way to do it, and it's the least headache, because you don't have to worry about PCI compliance and whether or not you have, an open port on your router or anything of that nature.
Any other questions?
You got any more, Chip?
Oh, I do. I'm sorry, I was waiting for Jeannie. The next thing is the ES&S software and hardware. Our machines go to Grand Chute. That's our election machines for maintenance and hardware. And they are gonna be putting in new, let's see here, a secure private connection between the DS200 and the county results server because of that one election where we couldn't modem our results. So that's just an upgrade to our equipment. Nathan and I will be taking that over to them in October. The next thing is elite checking with our Wolf River checking accounts. I asked them if we could have a interest-bearing checking account, because when I transfer money to cover the vouchers, it's usually quite a bit of money that I transfer. So they're putting us into the elite checking with a 0.20% interest rate. That's the highest they can do right now. They're still working on if they can give us a better rate. At least it's something. The next thing is Livy is going to be taking election training, so she can be certified to work in the WizVote, which is the election system software. And Nathan and I were trying to remember how many hours of webinars and training it takes. I think we're around, I don't know, between 12 to 16 or more. So she needs to get that training, and then she can go ahead and enter voter registrations, help with absentee voting in the office. But she has to be certified, she has to sign a confidentiality agreement. I mean, it's a big deal. She has to get a special little FIDO key that we use to work in the system. So she's excited about doing that. She has a little more free time now that the accounting system balances all perfectly with our new equipment. So we're getting her trained in that. That's all I have.
Lots of cross-training going on.
Yes.
So Jane's been spearheading that also, so that needs to be reported. There's been a ton of it, so thank you for that, Jane.
Any questions for Jane? If not, we'll move to Director of Public Works.
We got a certificate of appreciation from the Association of State and Territorial Dental Directors and the CDC about our fluoride addition in the water. Jeff, this doesn't apply to you. Went well out there. Yeah, it's pretty nice of them. They sent it to Jeannie in care of the village, so it's nice to get some appreciation from somebody. Again, it's from the ADA, American Dental Association. This week I went down to WDNR sponsored Community Tree Management Institute graduate training. It's a certificate I got a number of years ago, but they have graduate training classes every few years. And this year we were discussing what we call risk trees and hazard trees, and you know, what to look for and how to rate them. And David sent me a picture of a tree that just fell over on a nice beautiful, clear day on Lake Street, the old,
Box elder.
box elder tree there by, Tim's house. Anyways, that tree just fell over on a nice, beautiful, clear day, no wind. Anyways, those are what we call risk trees, and, the road is what we call target, so. It was on the list to be taken down this fall. We didn't think it would drop down, especially since it made it through the tornadoes and the high winds. That would fall on a beautiful day. Anyways, those are examples of risk trees, and you want to identify those and remedy those before you face lawsuits or medical bills and that kind of stuff.
AKA tree doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
It
also
was-
discussed disease and
It was rotten, so, yeah.
disease and pest identification. Again, that tree had some pests in it, so yeah, it was in bad shape. The final assessments for all these projects we have going will likely be on the October 17th meeting. And that's about all I have.
Any questions for Carl? If not, we'll move to D, Police Chief.
I don't have a whole lot. This month, school's back in session, so we've been just doing a lot of the soft drills at school. So we've had 1 or 2 of those a day. So they're going well.
Any questions for Chris? E, Library Director.
I didn't have anything for this meeting.
Okay. F, Attorney.
On the Schilling property, Chase Bank, which is currently foreclosing on the property again, as I reported previously, actually paid our outstanding real estate bill. So they sent 33 grand into the county treasurer.
Wow.
And we didn't get it yet, huh?
No, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
That's an inexperienced account.
So, I got correspondence and, I was looking at it and I thought, well, what is this? And I checked the county site and they showed that the payment was made.
Wow.
And so Nathan and I talked and we're expecting something in the near future. It's the strangest thing.
Is it
I
still?
think that's gotta be a left hand, right hand. They don't know what the hell they're doing.
I-
To pay out 33 grand and something like that.
We'll take it.
But it's not really appealing to a buyer unless it's paid. But did they have an auction date, or do they have
No,
anything
they don't have
set?
that yet. I mean, that's in the works. But no, typically in foreclosure, you just, you indicate to the bidders that there are outstanding taxes, and whoever is the highest bidder takes it subject to those taxes. You don't advance them. Because you can walk away from the property and not pay anything.
Do you
Yeah.
think that they think it's their benefit to do this, to get a higher price for the
Well, somebody did.
property? Because I've
it's
never
not.
heard of that either.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably heard us at a meeting talking
But
about
it's nice,
development
so-
units of property.
Yeah, so we'll be trying to expedite this and moving it along so that they will have the foreclosure sale sooner rather than later. That's everybody's goal here, so that's where we're at, yeah. You didn't know that, huh?
It's a lot of utility money right there.
Isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of utility.
Well,
money.
let's wait till we get it, but the records should be accurate. That's all I got.
Good news.
G is building permit report. It's not submitted this time.
If I could add to that, I did talk to Trace and Michelle Ploss, who run the real estate company on Ashton Way and Greenbrier. Nothing confirmed yet, but there was 5 real estate offers on those parcels this week for the 5 remaining lots on Greenbrier and Ashton Way. So looks like we might be busier than expected. So
Good.
more to come.
10 is communications and miscellaneous business, Black Otter Lake District News.
There was a meeting last night. Just a quick update, the harvester work is done for the season. Al said 509 cubic yards was removed, plus reeds. And they are taking the harvester up to Hayward for maintenance. And that's going to be done for free. There will be no charge to the district or to the village for that. Looking at purchasing a truck to be used just by the Blackwater Lake District. That would be obviously taken out of their treasury. And possibly a used one from the county. We decided to give gift cards to a couple of volunteers that ran the harvester this summer because they put in a lot of hours. So we got a couple of, Al's gonna take care of getting a couple of gift cards to give them for their time. And we also decided that we're gonna pursue removing the invasive cattails that are kind of taking over a lot of the shoreline in the area between the two parks. I think that's about it.
Yeah, specifically Black Otter Park as well as Veterans Park. Carl and I have been working with Al. We've kind of identified those two areas as key areas for recreation, fishing piers especially, that we look to get fishing piers established in those two parks. Not that Alonzo's out of the question, it's just the access points to Alonzo have kind of gone away.
Yeah.
So we want to maintain Black Otter as well as Veterans Park as areas where people can cast a line.
Veterans Park, there is at least 1 or 2 people that fish every morning there.
Absolutely.
And then when the weeds start accumulating, they move. But that park is used at 5 a.m. There's a gentleman out there every morning.
We've seen them by the boat launch as well. So
They
we
were
got,
down there today.
yeah, we gotta keep those access points available for people to cast a line. Because they're also by the dam a lot too.
Yeah.
So,
Any questions for Pat? B is Hortonville, Hortonia Fire District News.
Well, we had the budget meeting for the Hortonia last week. They submitted their budget for 2020. Wasn't really any surprises. They did, a lot of the discussion centered around the training that's required to qualify the operators to drive any of the apparatus. Even if it's like a non-emergency, if it's just a truck with the lights on it, even if they're not doing anything, it takes 15 weeks of training. And they're 3 hours? 3 hours? Yeah. 3 hours once a week, plus 2 Saturdays where they're putting in 6+ hours. And these are all volunteer. So they're just to be able to drive. They said statewide they're having issues having drivers qualified to drive the fire trucks or just the other apparatus vehicles. They have some expenses for training that are coming up that they didn't seem to have the cost nailed down as to what the training was going to be. That would be my only concern with their budget. We had spoke to them previously about some compensation for mileage and for gas and for a clothing allowance for EMS, which was a completely voluntary. They weren't even getting paid for the gas to go to the calls. So they came back with $400 per person. And I think the firefighters are currently at $450 for their clothing allowance. So we had initially discussed like somewhere, I think the number got thrown around $6,000. The fire department came back and asked for $4,800, and then that would have to be split between us and Hortonia. So we basically told them that we thought this was a potential number, and then they cut it in half and came back to us and said, this is what we think we need. Like I said, the only concern that I have with their budget is that I don't know that they're taking into account all of their training expenses, because they don't know what those training expenses are going to be. And we pushed them on it a couple of times to say, how much is this, and they just don't know what those costs are going to be. In fact, they don't even know what the training this expense is going to be, because they're going to have what they're trying to do is mix it up with other municipalities' trainings and get a little savings there, or but yeah, their cost is a little fluid. If they underestimated anything, that's it.
Are these like revolving certification, like that sort of thing? Like I'm certified for 3 years and every 3 years
Yes.
I need to renew?
Yeah, that was my impression of it.
Okay.
So if they did ever come back for any money, I think that might be it. They were talking about trying to find some way to compensate the volunteers for going to 15 weeks of training, you know, like a gift card or something like that. But their budget's pretty lean. So,
That proposal is in the packet, for those of you who have it in front of you.
yeah.
Do they
And
know what- go ahead,
didn't they
Sharon.
say that, those manuals for the new course are $100 each?
Mm.
And every single one that takes it has to have their own manual. So that's another expense they have.
You said it used to be you could just learn on the job from somebody else who was already qualified to drive the truck. But the state came in and said, no, everybody has to have a standardized qualification, no matter what you're doing.
Chief, is there any overlap of training that we could try and work together with the fire department? Nothing overlaps, okay?
No, they have their mandated training and we have our mandated training, unfortunately.
Just trying to find a way to get a group discount.
Yours is similar though, isn't it? It's an extended process to.
Yeah. We have to do ours every 24 hours and the state mandates certain trainings, like we have to have evac every 2 years and we have to have firearms every year. And we have to have a time system every 2 years, so we gotta be constantly watching and making sure, but there's nothing that,
Okay, just a thought.
yeah.
Well, other than that, that's all I got. But it wouldn't surprise me if somewhere down the road their budget this coming year ends up being short because of training. I don't see it being a major expense, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if they come back and say, hey, you know, we need to have a fundraiser or we need to come back to the board and ask for some money. And that's all I got.
Any questions for Jim? C is Gold Cross Ambulance Run Report and News. This is not submitted at this time.
There is, Jeannie, in the packet, there's also the proposed 2020 budget with the subsidy amount, which calls out Hortonville $10.32 per capita in 2020. And that equates to, so this is the preliminary, well, it's not really preliminary, we get told this one. So that's what we're gonna be using as our budget number, would be the $7,334.94 per quarter. So that would be, I just wanted to include that in the packet so everybody's aware.
And that's the consortium.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep, yeah, we don't really, that's pretty much given to us, that you factor it in the budgeting process.
D is Hortonville Civic Association.
In Peter's absence, the only thing he emailed me today also is, and I only have 2 copies, he's planning a civic association Mardi Gras Casino Night at the Opera House, Saturday, February 22nd, 2020, 6 p.m. till 11 p.m. Enjoy an evening of gambling with real chips on real gaming tables. Tickets $25 per person, cash or check only, no debit or credit cards, hors d'oeuvres, cash bar, door prizes. It's a fundraiser. All proceeds support community parks. Tickets available currently at Donaldson's. And he wanted me to advertise it for you, so.
He sent us that as an
Okay,
attachment too.
okay, so you all saw it. That's all he had for his report tonight.
Okay. E, Senior Activities Committee.
I'll just hand out the half-sheet flyers that Nathan got ready for us. That lists the agencies as of, what, 3 days ago, maybe, Nathan, that were listed. He said we've had a couple come in since then. It'll be over at St. Peter and Paul on October 16th. So if anyone can come and say hi, that would be great. Our next meeting is a week from today at 1 o'clock, and we'll be meeting at St. Peter and Paul. So we can make sure that we have everything we need for the event. So it's usually it's been a really good event for the seniors, so please stop in.
Any questions for Pat? If not, 11, comments and suggestions from citizens present.
I got to, I don't know, Bob or Carl, I could have swore a couple of years ago we addressed that land at the end of Michael Ridker, and that was split up and put on the tax roll already?
We had talked about it, it just never got done.
That was never on, okay. And then Chris, the school bus signs along the highway, 15, saying stop for red lights, who puts those out?
The county,
Those, I consider those a hazard.
I do
They're
too.
too
To
close
be
to
honest
the
with you.
lane of traffic.
I agree with you, I watched a child
Uh,
walk around it into the
Yeah.
ditch.
In the morning, I see cars go around them and they're going in
Yeah.
opposite lane to avoid them.
Yeah, I don't know if the highway department put those up or if, I'm assuming that the highway department put them up at the direction of, and maybe it's a call out to Harry, because Harry might know. I'll give Harry a call tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
I think that goes back to the accident, remember they were gonna do more to help
Yeah.
offset.
Well, it's a good idea.
Yeah,
Put
yeah.
them off under the shoulder.
Yeah, or in the ditch,
Yeah.
yeah, you'll see them.
That one right out by AFS is just, it's like.
Yeah, the one right there by,
Yeah.
whatever street that is, going south,
Lake Street.
Lake Street.
Lake, yep.
Any other comments? If not, we are ready for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion has been carried.